Angela went through her 20s like any of us would. She considered herself carefree, frequently took herself out all over Nairobi, eating, having fun with friends, and just generally experiencing life. Money was the least of her worries, let alone the idea of motherhood. In the last year of campus, she found out that she was pregnant. In fact, she was so out of touch with the idea of pregnancy that she only discovered it when she was 18 weeks along. She had no real symptoms, at least not those she would associate with pregnancy. All she suffered from was a sudden aversion to red meat and an odd craving for all forms of potatoes. Her story is one that represents the reality of early-age single parenthood. She shares about her struggles of coming to terms with her impending motherhood, of trying to build a family for her son, and most importantly, of trying to find her footing in a world she did not envision for herself. This is episode 10 of Mama Till Season 3. I'm your host, Sally Kuria. Angela had no idea she was pregnant. A few things were odd, but pregnancy didn't stand out to her. We will pick up her story at the point where I asked her what changed. When did she know that things were not normal?
My tummy was hard. Interesting. Yeah, it was getting really hard. And I would try to sleep on my tummy. And because I think for me that's like one of my favorite positions, sleeping on my tummy. And I would sleep and I feel like my tummy is really hard. I mean, what is going on? And then also my trousers around the waist. Sorry, they started becoming small. So I was like, am I really gaining weight? No, I'm not gaining weight because, I mean, my stomach, like I could visibly see my stomach was like kind of growing, but then it was just my stomach, not any other part. So, and then obviously there's that line, so it started getting darker. And I went to the doctor and I told the doctor, I think I have a cyst. Imagine. I just went and told the doctor, I think I have a cyst. My tummy is so hard and I don't know. I don't think I'm pregnant. I've been taking care of myself. And so he's like, lie down. Yeah, I lie down and he's like, he takes the Doppler and immediately there's a heartbeat. And I was like, Daktari, I'm not pregnant. I would check if that is a cyst. Oh my God. Imagine. The doctor was like, okay, yeah, I mean, sometimes there are usually some ovarian cysts that can, we can hear your heartbeat through the cyst. So it could be, but let's just check. I think you're pregnant. And I was like, can't be me, please. Can never be me. Shock on me because, I went to the ultrasound room and the lady who was performing that ultrasound, she looked at me and she was confusing me with someone else. So she's like, hi, Sasa, you've come. Wow, hey, it's been so long. You're progressing nicely. And I'm like, girl, you don't know me. Okay, I didn't tell her that, like, because I mean, at the same time, I'm also in shock that I'm pregnant. Yeah, I'm 22. I mean, I'm a baby. Literally, I'm a baby who's about to have another baby. So I mean, I'm just going along with her and everything. And she's like, wow, okay, sawa. See, we count the toes and the fingers. You can imagine I'm learning I'm pregnant and we are counting fingers and toes. When I think about it now, oh my God. So then she's like, so you want to find out the sex of the baby? Let's check the sex of the baby. As in at once. I'm just here. I'm in denial. I'm thinking I have a cyst. Yeah. But here we are. We are seeing a whole human being. We've listened to the heartbeat. We've counted the toes. We've counted the fingers. And now I learn I'm having a boy. honestly, I was really shocked. I was in shock, and for me, the first thing was I can't keep the baby. When I think about it now, I think it was just it was mostly shock that was speaking. This was not me. I mean, obviously, if I was maybe say married, that would have been a different emotion altogether. But here I am. I'm in my last year of campus. For those who've been to the University of Nairobi, we all know there was, for me, like there was a whole year where we were out of school. So we were kind of behind. And I went and I told the doctor, Doc, I'm not keeping this baby. Yeah, I'm not keeping the baby. You have to remove this child. How am I going to talk to my parents? How will I tell them that I'm pregnant? My parents are old school, tough, very strict. So, especially my dad. So I could not imagine how I was going to tell my dad, like sit down and, look him in the eye and tell him, Dad, I'm pregnant. That one just it did not sit well with me, with my soul, to be very specific. That one did not sit well with my soul. I was just like, and even my mom, I just couldn't imagine telling her, because I mean, this was not even the vision I had for myself. Everyone, and okay, times have changed and people have different opinions and views, but for me, mine was, I need to get married first, like stay 1 year or 2 years, and then we can have kids. But then here I was. First of all, I was not even married, not even engaged, nothing. I was just a girlfriend. I'm pregnant. My parents had met my boyfriend, but I did not introduce him as my boyfriend. Now I have to start making formal introductions. It's like he was prepared. Almost like he knew. Yeah, because like there was a time I was complaining to him and telling him, this stomach of mine is big. This stomach of mine is so big. I don't know. I don't know what is the problem. It's so big. It looks like I'm pregnant, right? I think for him at that moment, like it just clicked that I was pregnant, but it's like he didn't tell me, or maybe he was also in denial, or I don't know. But yeah, he wasn't shocked at all.
Interesting.
Yeah, he was just like, oh, okay, so now we have to start with the process, now we have to get married. Children deserve a good home and whatnot. I was like, I mean, yeah, so obviously, I had to tell my folks that I'm pregnant. I mean, they weren't amused. And quite honestly, they were not happy. I mean, I'm just a baby, having another baby. But then they accepted it. And, for me, like one of the things that really struck me was after we told my dad that I was, that I was pregnant. My dad took me out one day and, we sat down and he told me, you're my daughter and I can't throw you away because of something like this. So, I'm going to do everything for you to ensure that you have a good life. I'm going to take you to school. Whatever you require, just let me know. I'm always going to be there for you and I'll take care of you. We're not living in the era where my mother was, like he's referring to my grandma. I mean, those days, obviously, things are, so completely different. But he said, we're not living in that era where I'm just going to leave you. And, if you don't want to get married to this man, just let me know. You don't have to get married. And so my dad has really supported me up to today, up to this day. My dad still supports me. And I'm so, so thankful for my dad. If anything, I'm very, very thankful to God for my dad because he's held my hand. Yes, as my father, he has done that for me. For me, I just want my child to grow up in a good and stable home. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I mean, I've been with this guy long enough. I know him well. So, let's get it going. Better the devil you know than the angel you don't. So I was like, yeah, it's fine. Let's do this. Let's get married. And well, that one never happened. because of reasons that I prefer not to speak about. Here we are. I mean, I was pregnant. He came with his family. They introduced themselves to us and said, they want to come for me and whatnot. By the way, my baby daddy is Ugandan. So they came from Uganda and, they were like, we're coming for your daughter, blah, blah, blah. All those things, I mean, they came and it was actually it was just a ratio that was, going to be done. And then now, white wedding. And then now I was meant to move to Uganda. And then, but obviously there were some struggles here, there. Like they wanted to have the white wedding in Uganda. My parents wanted it to be in Kenya. My folks asked them, especially my dad. He was like, "You guys, you want the wedding to be in Uganda? Are you going to transport all these people to Uganda? Who's gonna do that? Because I'm not catering for that." Not that he can't afford it or anything, but he was like, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna cater for everything from start to end. Anyway, that was not actually the main reason that we broke up. But fast forward, I've given birth 3 months down the line. Things don't go as planned, and I decided to call everything off. So the wedding was off. I was no longer engaged, like nothing. Here I am, a young mom, struggling with the the realities of life. That I'm now a mother. Then here another reality that my son will not. Doesn't mean that he never will, but at that point, he was not going to grow up in the family setting that I had envisioned for him. Oh my God, I was so stressed. I was so stressed. And I don't know. Let's just say by the grace of God, I'm here today. Yeah, because it really took a toll on me. At some point, like I didn't have milk. I was substituting with formula. And my son hated formula. So like he would take, and then also I realized that he would like have a reaction to the formula. He would take the formula and then like when he was burping, like he would burp and burp all the milk. I just had to keep him at the breast throughout to stimulate the milk. I can tell you at some point it was painful because there's no milk. At some point I got a lactation specialist to help me. Those days Mama Mudhoni was not, she was not there. Yeah, to help. But I got someone. What was her name? She's called Esther, if I'm not wrong. Yes, Esther Kimani. Yeah, I got her to help me with the milk. At least I had something going, and then eventually my milk came in, and I would say I think at that point I had to, put it in my head that it was a reality and that I was not going into a family setting. I was going to stay with my parents, and that is how my son would have to grow up. And I guess I also prayed a lot. That's also another thing I can say, because I can tell you, my son used to wake up like twice in the night, say at around midnight and then 5. I used to cry, like especially like the first days. Oh my God, my son would sleep like this because I was like, I don't want my child to, because these days we are so informed, and I used to read and it would say that if you're stressed, your child will feel the emotions. I mean, it even goes through the milk, so your child is going to be stressed. So I used to really try to, be at my best during the day and when he's awake. But then at night when he would go to sleep, oh my God, I would cry rivers. I cried until I had no tears to cry. So I cried. I mean, I used like my son, and I would say God really came through for me at that point, because my son would not wake up at night. So you can imagine, when you're busy crying, I mean, you're stressed, you have no milk. Yeah. My son would sleep. Like I would put him to sleep at 9, and the boy would sleep. He would sleep until like 5. And for sure, I just knew that was God. Because there's absolutely no way that child would have slept all that time without waking up. I mean, he didn't even move a little, like I would cry until I have no tears to cry, and then I sleep. By the time at least he's waking up, I have some energy. Also, society is not very kind to people in that position. And then every time you speak about it, because people come to you and they ask you questions about it, and then when you talk about it, they say, "Oh my God, well, you sound like a bitter woman." You know, the people who would tell me that to my face, and I'm like, guys, aren't you the ones who asked me about this? Now you're telling me I'm bitter. I mean, please, I mean, be human at least. You know, now having gone through that, if anyone tells me about their story, I mean, I can totally relate. And I cannot judge them for whatever choices that they make with their lives, you know, themselves, their kids, the future of their own lives, and the future of their kids. I can't judge anyone because I've been through it. So, you know, let everyone do what they want. They know what is best for them. I'm a believer of people do what they think is best for them. So if someone decides to do whatever they're doing, let them be. People, you know, they would look at you and they're like, oh my God, now look. She got pregnant. She was going to get married. Now look. She had a child and she was at home, and now she's still living in the house, in her parents' house. Yeah, let me tell you, people, people talked. They spoke smack. And the worst bit is sometimes it doesn't even come from strangers. It always comes from people who know you well. And that is the hardest bit for me. I mean, up to date, I just cannot fathom how someone would talk badly about me. And, you know, while I'm never in their business, but someone is in your business, they want to talk about you and everything that you're doing. I found that very unfair, but, you know, they say that life is not fair. There's no balance in this life. I mean, to this day, people still look at single mothers as either a thing or rejected. Yeah, like, what did you do? Why aren't you with your baby daddy? Or, you know, like, especially when it comes to men, they look at you and they're like, another one I can just, you know, play around with. And then, yeah, because they assume that single mothers are desperate. In reality, we are not. We are not desperate. We have things figured out. I know exactly what I want. You can't come and tell me that this is what you're going to offer me, and yet my standards are up there. Not that my standards were never up there, but now because I have a child, I'm not just taking care of myself, I'm taking care of someone else. It cannot be the same. It can never be the same. I've had men who just like they view you as like a plaything. So like because they think you're super desperate, that you want a man, you want a father figure for your child. You know, but I mean, the thing is that I'm not very quick to introduce every single man I meet to my son, because I'm afraid of, you know, that bond. You know, there are people who have good bonds with kids. And then when he's not there, what do I tell my son? What am I going to tell him? Am I going to tell him that this guy went? Where did he go? Uh, you see, for me, the funniest bit is that when my son was born, he really tried, or he was showing to be like very hands on. But then, like, when I said that I don't want to be in the relationship anymore, and that, you know, like everything is cancelled, then he changed. He changed, and he said that he doesn't want to be involved. Yeah, he actually said that he never wanted, now I'm quoting him, that he never wanted to hear from us or see us, even our voices. He never wanted to hear our voices for the next 7 years because of the emotional trauma I gave him. You know, I'm like, okay, you guys, me I'm a rock, mimi ni mawe, for the for the non-Swahili speaking people. You know, it's like he's saying, I'm a rock. Basically, I don't have emotions. I'm just a rock. Bearing in mind, I'm the one who carried this baby. I gave birth to this child, and at 3 months, hormones are still raging. So I would say he was very self-centered. For him, he was like, he never wanted anything to do with us. And, you know, I was like, okay, it's fine. Let me just come to the reality that I'm going to bring my son up on my own. And, you know, like, I'm just gonna let it be. Whatever happens, happens. Now, 1 year down the line, he decides he wants to see the child. He came back. He came home. because he's Ugandan. He went back to Uganda. Then he came back to Kenya, and he came to my parents' house, and he said that he wants to see the child. He comes and he sees the child is doing well. This is a year later. And I mean, my son could not recognize him. So my son completely refused to even crawl, because at 1 year my son was not walking. He was still crawling. He refused to crawl even in that area, that space. At that age, you have completely no influence. You cannot tell a child, don't go there, and they don't go. So I actually took that as a sign, even my son, he's like, you, by the way, go and live your life.
Yeah, I don't want that energy.
I don't want your energy, I don't need it. And by the way, he only stayed for 10 minutes. Yeah, the man stayed for 10 minutes because he could not believe that the child didn't even want to be near him. I remember, because obviously I had to close the gate. Yeah. There was no one else. Yeah. The man, he left the house in such a rush, and he entered the car, and I saw this man was, he was so angry. I don't know whether he was angry at himself or angry at me or angry. I don't know who he was angry at. But the man was, he was hitting things in the car. He was hitting the steering wheel. I could just see this man was angry. Yeah. And then after some time, he drove off. But then I was like, you know what? Serves you right. Yeah. Because you decided, and let me tell you, at that time, when we were, transitioning from being a couple to individuals, I literally begged the man, and I told him, please, do your best to stay in your son's life. Let us co-parent. I have no objection whatsoever. If you want to be a parent to this child, please, by all means, I would like that. Yeah. Come and do what you need to do as a father to his son. Because he grew up without a dad. Yeah, his dad died when he was young. So he knows how it feels to grow up without a father. Yeah. Not just like a father figure, but without your own father. Anyway, that was his choice. Yeah. So, that was his bed. He must lie on it. So, yeah, after that, he would decide, maybe he would send toys. But then I'm like, this is a diaper wearing child. If you send me toys worth 20,000 and the child has no diapers, will the child wear the toys? 3 years ago, 20K was quite a substantial amount of money. So if you decide to buy the child toys and not diapers, of what value are those toys? When will he ever play with those toys and actually understand that these toys are from my dad? He would never. I remember for his first birthday, he sent a big cake. I think it was 10 kgs or even more. It was big. Yeah. And I tried to share that cake with my neighbors, my colleagues at work. No, I was not yet working at that time. I tried to share that cake with my neighbors. Everyone I knew. And let me tell you, that cake never is hard. There's some we put in the fridge, and it just went bad in the fridge. Yeah. What? Yeah, what was that? What was the value of this cake? I had to ask those people, how much is this cake? Yeah. They said the cake was, I think it was 18K. And I was like, why would you bring me a cake? A 1-year-old, for that matter. This is someone who has no idea what a birthday is. Honestly, I just wanted to do a small thing with family, we go out, have lunch, and celebrate his first year. But no, we have a big cake. My goodness. Let me tell you, I used to get very annoyed and very frustrated because to some extent, I felt like, is this guy doing this on purpose? Is he doing this on purpose? What is he trying to show me? Even if you're trying to show me you have money, why don't you do that by channeling those funds to the one who really needs them? Yeah. If you asked me, I would tell you, give me the money. I will buy him whatever he needs. And then I can get him a small cake that he can, smash and he can eat with his fingers or something. But if I mean, for me, it made no sense whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, down the line, he decided that he would be popping up whenever he feels like, and whenever he does, I mean, my son cannot recognize him. That is not my fault. I don't influence my son in whatever way. And children see. That's the other thing I realized, that children see when you're not there, when you're not present. They know because they see the ones who've been there for them. Like now, my son calls my dad his dad also.
Okay.
Yeah, because you see, we call him dad.
Yeah.
So even him, he says, "This is my dad." Obviously, we all know that that is not the dad. But if you ask him, "Who is this?" "Oh, that's my dad." Yeah, that's my dad, and that's the father he knows, or the father figure that he knows. Yeah. So I thank God, because I wouldn't say that I managed on my own. I honestly, I mean, anyone who's been in my shoes knows how difficult it can get, and sometimes you sit down and you wonder, like, how am I going to manage? And then God just comes through for you, and you don't even know how things happen, but things happen, and life will not stop. Life doesn't stop because you're feeling a certain way, but because of God. I can speak for myself, because I'm a believer. I will say that God has been there for me through and through. Since my son was born, through and through, I can say that God has always been there for me.
How has dating life been? Like,
It's interesting, I must say. It's very interesting, because there are people who are really like, there's someone who asked me, like, because you have a child, can't we just get married and not have any more children? And I was like, but I want more kids. And that's how it ended.
okay.
There's someone who's like, this economy is so tough. Why don't we just keep your child as the only child? I mean, I would love that, but I also want to have like one more or even two more. We just don't know how many more will come. But yeah, I would like to add to the one I already have. So yeah, anyway, the dating life is very interesting, because let me tell you, as a single girl, as a single mother, and also as a single, because I'm still a girl. Yeah, I'm still okay. I'm not that young, but I'm a single woman. I'm also a mother. Yeah, and I think there's somewhere I read, I can't remember exactly where, but like people usually like to say, a single mother. But you being a mother, whether you're single or married, it has absolutely no relationship. Being a mother, whether you're single or married, they're not mutually exclusive. Because you're a mother. That is it. That is that. You're a mother. Motherhood chose you. And then now, your dating life, however you choose to, take your life in terms of relationships, single or married, that is your own choice. So I usually don't tell people, "Oh, I'm a single mother." No. I tell them, yeah.
Do you say that?
No, I must always mention my child. That is a no compromise. I don't compromise on that. I always tell people that I'm a mother. I have a child, but I'm also single. I'm looking for someone. Yeah. So, if you want to be with me, you just know I am a mother, but I'm also single. So, yeah. I don't want to be in a relationship, because sometimes, you can get so, your mind can get so clouded, and you may not be able to see that the person you're with actually doesn't like your child, because not everyone is going to like your child. Yeah, you could be with a man who likes you, he really loves you, but he does not love your child. And so how can you love me and not love my child? And yet this child is an extension of me. This child is tied to me. How can you not love this child? No, it's not possible. So sometimes I do feel the pressure, but then when I think about it, I'm just, stick to your objectives. Yeah, always remember that you need someone who loves your child as much as they're going to love you, to be with you. Yeah, you can't be with someone who is wishy-washy about your child. No. That one for me is I cannot compromise on that. It's a no-brainer for me. So if you say, I love you, but you can't stay with your child, immediately no. Immediately no. I'm done. By the way, move on with your life, please. I'm moving on with mine already. Yeah, but I mean, I would love to have, my child with, mommy, daddy, that kind of setting, but all in God's time. I don't, I can't complain about that because this is the path that, really, can I say I chose it? No. This is the path that I'm on right now. So, yeah, one day at a time. Yeah, honestly, I usually don't hesitate to share my story because I know so many people go through these things. And sometimes you feel like you're the only one. It can really feel like you're the only person in this whole wide world who's going through that. Well, the truth is you're not. You're not the first. Neither you're going to be the last. These things happen all the time, and the sooner like we form a community where a safe space for people like myself, the sooner you get comforted and you actually become comfortable in your own space, just not feeling that pressure of I must get a father, like doing anything just so that you can get married, like those things you start to look at life in a different way, in a different light, and you appreciate yourself, and you love yourself. And it so happens that sometimes when I look at some people, I find that the people who are happily single with their children are actually doing so much better than the people who are stuck in marriage. Yeah, not everyone, because there are people who are happily thriving in marriage, and I mean, for them, hats off to you. Like I also want one day to be thriving in marriage, but now I'm thriving on my own with my child, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy in this space. When the time comes, I'm also gonna get someone who I'm gonna thrive with. But for now, I'm just happy with myself and with my life, and the quality of life that my son is getting as well. And I really wish that people actually spoke more about the truth and how life can go in different directions. I really do wish people spoke about it more, because people don't talk about it that much. They just want to romanticize everything. Everything is, it's like a romantic movie. It's not. This is real life, and things actually sometimes they go complete left instead of going right the way you want it to go. So how do you handle that situation? Yeah, and it takes a lot of, what can I say? You just need support. Because you can be strong, but for not a very long period of time. Yeah, because at some point you will break down trying to be strong on your own. So you need a support system. And that support system, by the way, if you don't have friends or family that you can rely on, get that professional help. Like, go for therapy. That therapy will help you. Like, it helps. That's the only thing I can say. Because talking about it, people say, talk about things. When you remove it, it's like it gets off your chest. That is so true. The more you talk about it, the more it leaves. And then you're able now to think clearly about what you want for yourself, what you want for your child. Then you're able to, set some goals. So you're gonna do this, then you can even start saving for school fees. I wish someone told me to save for school fees when my son was a year old. Yeah. I wish someone told me that, but no one did. So my son started school and nilipigwa na butwa. Yeah, my son started school. I was like, oh my God, hey, school fees, what? It's a thing, eh? What? Hey, sa tutadu. Like those ones of like, I'm asking myself, sa tutadu? Utadu? Utadu, yeah. That's where I was. But anyway, I thank God because, now we have financial planning tools even online that you can get for free. So yeah, I had to go that. Yeah, I was able to fix it, and now at least, yeah, things are moving. I want to say this in a way that wouldn't be offensive, and please don't take offense. But you find that a lot of times when you're the single friend with a child, married people really avoid you. Yeah, married women especially avoid you because they think now you want to be with their husband. Like, girl, your man is not even my type, but someone is there trying to protect someone who you can't actually protect. You cannot watch over your husband 24/7. And furthermore, if I'm your friend, it means I value you and the people around you. That would mean that, in as much as maybe, sometimes it's the man is the one who's actually coming for me, yeah?
Probably, yeah.
I'm not pushing myself towards him. He's coming to me. I would put him off and tell him, no, I can't do this. I value my friendship with so and so. But then now, I mean, if they come to hear of something like that, or if they even try to imagine that something like that could happen, immediately you're cut off. Just left like, oh my God. You can't even have like serious, meaningful friendships simply because people are afraid that you're going to take their husbands. Girl, he's not my type. Hata simtaki. I don't want him. But then no, here you are protecting someone who cannot be protected. So it's really tough for us single girls. It's really tough. And then also, like being in this space, people are actually getting married left, right, and center. Like you think everyone getting married and you're there like, oh my God, okay, Kwani, what happened to me? I mean, you see even people who are younger than you, they're getting married, having kids, and you're there. You've had your child, uko hapo tu uko peke yako. You're just like, what? That times I really feel like, it bothers me, but then I just comfort myself and I say, my time has not yet come. Because I believe that everyone has their own timing, and, we usually say for believers in the Bible, there's a time for everything. So I believe my time for that has not yet come, but it is definitely coming. Yeah, so I don't discredit myself and say, I'm a write-off. Now I can't, no. Yes, I'm not a write-off. I know that my day is coming. And my day is coming, definitely. So I don't get so stressed about it. But, you look at it and you're just like, hey, okay, sawa. Okay, wow, life is really moving on very fast. Yeah. Oh, I was saying, actually, the point I wanted to make was, we're in this stage where people are getting married left, right, and center. So your friends are either married or they're single. You're single, but you're a mom. A lot of your friends are single. They're just single by themselves. Like, they don't have anyone to look after. They don't have anyone to take care of. And your married friends are here. They're locking you out because you're not married like them, but you have kids like them. So it's a really tricky place. Yeah, sometimes I feel like, you just really need to be very comfortable. I think you need to be very comfortable with yourself and the place you're at in life and with the people around you, because if you keep trying to guard the people around you, that is your husband or your boyfriend, you'll always have like this insecurity inside of you that will never really let you fully enjoy life for what it is, simply because you're always looking out like, is someone looking at my man? Hey, a boy, go and confront her. I mean, you would have so many meaningful friendships with people who are not like you, but still like you in one way. Yeah, for me, I believe that for as long as your values align, all these other things, they come and go. Yeah, they come and go because you just don't know. Today, I'm the single mother and married. Tomorrow, we don't know. We don't know what could happen. You know, people get married so quickly and they also get separated or divorced so quickly as well. So I feel like people should not like discredit the mothers who are single. Like, don't discredit them. Yeah, don't discredit them. It is so unfair. It's so unfair. Yeah, but anyway, we move because now, like, for me, I've just had to find like my own kind of like niche. So I tend to hang out with people who are older than me because I find that those are some of the people who are very comfortable with themselves and they're comfortable with how life is taking them and they're comfortable with their partners. They're comfortable with everything around them. Like, so they have no fears, no worries, and they're like, they've come to the realization that it's life. If my husband decides that I'm Katia, what is she going to do about it? Because she's my friend, not my husband's friend. Yeah. So what are you going to do about it? Do our values align? Does it mean that Akiku Katia, you'll just dump me and go and sleep with him? Or are you going to shut him off completely, and put him down and tell him, this is a non-negotiable and unacceptable behavior? Yeah. For as long as your values align, then I think you should not shut anyone off. That is also something else that I feel needs to be spoken about. Yeah. Although, there are those people who speak like that and then like, yuma, hey, weh. Yeah, I've met them. I've met them. Yeah, I've met everyone. I'm telling you. I've met so many people. I mean, anyway, I usually say like my son is literally my blessing because ever since now I had my son, that's when my eyes have been opened and I see things in a different light. I see things in a different light and I'm able to think about things differently, objectively, not like with my emotions. Thinking with my heart stopped a long time ago. Yeah. Now I use my head first. Yeah, that's why people say we carry photocopies of our hearts. Yes. Yes. I would say look to people who have always supported you. Those are the people who are always going to have your back. Family, friends. Yeah, because there are friends who become family. Yeah. Then there's also your family. If your parents are supportive, I mean, always look to them for strength. Sometimes because you won't always be strong. This journey is not an easy one. It's one of the toughest journeys I've ever been on. But because of support from friends who became family or from my actual family, I'm able to, I'm able to be more positive towards life. And, life doesn't stop because you're in that situation. So get whatever help you need, professional help that is. If you need to go for therapy, you need to go for counseling, please do it. By all means, do that so that you can, get back to your normal self and, so that you can also show up for your child and also show up for yourself because a happy mom is a happy baby. Happy mom equals happy baby. But if you're forever moody, your child will also grow up in I don't want to say it's not a loving environment. It is because I'm sure, because you feel a certain way doesn't mean you don't love your child. But yeah, so get the help you need. That is professional help. What else would I say? If you're a believer, look to God. Look to God. For me, I would say that even with all the help that I have around me, I wouldn't be where I am today if it were not for the prayers, just you don't have to like pray and speak in tongues whatever. No, even the small, tiniest prayers, God hears them. And He will make, whatever you want, God will bring it to fruition and things will happen in your favor. Sometimes you don't even know what happened because you probably didn't even have the connections. But because of God, these things happen. So always look to God, because there are times when you're in so much pain, your heart really hurts, and you need comfort. And there's no amount of comfort any human being can give you. That comfort can only come from God. So I would say, if you're a believer, or whatever higher power you believe in, take it in. You can pray, whatever, meditate. Do that. I think for me it really, really helps.
I want to thank Angela for sitting with me and sharing her story with us. Her story was actually the first one I recorded physically, and I'm glad she took that gamble with me. Looking forward to doing many of these. Music in this episode by Blue Dot Sessions.